Welcome back. I am Kathy Zalewski with Realty ONE Group Peak in Bozeman.
And I'm Kaila Henry, also at Realty ONE Group Peak.
So this video is part of our seller series, and it's a very important video because we are going to be talking about pricing and how we as agents price your home, kind of what might happen if we price it wrong, whether that's too high or too low, and how that affects you and the time that you'll be on the market.
And I think so often, I have friends sometimes that'll just be like, what do you think my house is worth? It's not an off the cuff thing that we're doing. There's a rhyme and a reason. It takes time. We do put a lot of effort into it. So just want to kind of demystify a lot of those things and help everybody understand what maybe goes into the price, how we come up with a price for a home.
Absolutely.
So I guess first and foremost, I always like to visit the home first,
Yeah.
right? We need to get inside your home. It's really hard for me to price something that I don't know the condition of the interior. I use cadastral to pull, I would say what's in the public record. So, how big is your home? What bedrooms? How big is your lot size? Obviously location, just kind of a lot of those basic things. But then most importantly, I do want to meet and get inside your home.
Yep. To that end, pictures are not Smellovision.
Yeah.
And that can be a big deal. So yes, we absolutely, without a doubt, need to see your home to give you the most accurate pricing. But when we start, after we've seen the home, first of all, I think everybody knows the three most important rules in real estate are location, location, location. So I learned how to pull comps and to price a home by a strong combination of knowing what an appraiser does. Because it is important ultimately. I mean, 80% of homes are owned have a mortgage, right? So there's going to be a lender and there's probably going to be an appraisal. So we have to stand up to that. And also that will be like a buyer seeing an appraisal. So appraisers definitely look for location. So I was taught that if you can find a reasonable comparable sold properties we start with, because that's what actually somebody paid for them.
And recent being 6 months or sooner.
Right.
1 year out, it doesn't matter so much.
Right. But those need to be within the same, first, if they can be within the same neighborhood or subdivision, that's best. After that, you want to be within a mile. The further out you get, rural type properties that can get much larger. But if we're talking about like Bozeman proper, I would definitely say you should be able to find a minimum of 3 comparable sold properties within a mile.
Yeah, we're definitely shooting for, and again, really that sold data is what matters, right? So some people are like, well, my neighbor's house is under contract. It's great, and I think it's a great indication of what the market's doing now. Sold is really what matters for when we're looking at pricing, because of course that is our goal, is to get your home sold, not just to have it on the market, not just to get showings. We would like to get it sold.
Right. Yeah, go.
Yeah, so I think another really important thing to be looking for is the square footage of the house. Some people will look at bedroom and bathroom counts. I agree with Kathy that to me, square footage is a big indicator to me of what matters,
right,
with how much finished space you have. I think in and of that, sometimes I think you will see pricing differences on significantly larger homes versus smaller homes, because the most expensive parts of homes are your kitchens, your bathrooms, and maybe let's say your systems, right? A finished just drywall room, it's not really a costly thing.
Right.
It can be a great addition, but I do think you'll see some pricing differences in your price per square foot. So again, that to me is a number where it's maybe a good thing to look at. It is definitely not an end all be all.
Well, I think you can certainly have a 1,500 square foot home that is 4 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. Now, those bedrooms in a 3,000 square foot home are probably called closets. Yeah. So going, if you went beds and baths versus square footage, you're not going to get a good comparator. You start with square footage, and then after you've got, let's say you found 10 comps that were similar square footage, then you can start matching up if they have similar numbers of beds and baths. That would be kind of my process.
Your order, yeah. Order of operations.
I would say it's different pricing, potentially more rural property than a in-town property. Like if you're looking at, say, a subdivision like Harvest Creek or Flanders Mill, lot size isn't going to be, they're all going to be about the same lot size. There isn't going to be a tremendous advantage for one home over another there in terms of lot. Now, that's not true as you get further out. Like in Four Corners, property that's on a half an acre, I would only look at other half acre properties, or a property that had an acre or an acre and a half or 2 acres. Those should be similar because lot size is a major factor for a buyer when they're identifying the home that they want to buy.
Big time. And while I would say when you're looking specifically in those subdivisions, so like you mentioned, Flanders Mill, Harvest Creek, Kathy, some folks will say, ooh, well, I'm on a corner lot or next to the park. I do think, yes, you can find variances and, there might be more ideal lots versus less ones, maybe ones bumping up against a busy street. I do think, obviously, those are things that we're factoring and considering, but it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference, right? Yes, there is a slight, there are better things, but people aren't really spending truly that much more money on those. I think those to me are the things that help your home shine and stand out against the competition versus really significantly adding more money to your property. I hope that makes sense. I know it can feel a little bit different to say, but
a buyer might choose a property that was on the inside of a subdivision versus one that backs up to a main street more quickly, but only in a really, really crazy market will that necessarily drive the price up significantly more than the one that backs up to the busy
and if
street.
it is driving it up, you'll see that in bidding wars. To me, I would never want to price a home assuming that.
Right.
To me, that's something that the market would just do on its own.
Dictate. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think from there, I guess I tend to like to look at then, well, what's under contract? And to me, this really goes more into effect of, again, if we're bringing the home on the market relatively soon. So I do always like to wait until we're pretty darn close to bringing a home on the market before we give a final list price, because markets can change. Occasionally they can change rapidly for better or for worse. And so I will often give a nice little price range, and then I do really like to dial it in right about before we go on the market to make sure that we're really trying our best to thread that needle.
Right. I do want to just go back a little bit, Kayla. So when we go location, lot size, location, square footage, lot size, then there's some other differentiating factors like single story, 2-story. I would also say some really distinguishing factors in Bozeman proper is 2 or 3 car garage.
That's a great one.
That would be a very valuable difference. I think that, and very valuable, maybe like replacement cost wise, as if an appraiser did like a replacement cost kind of appraisal, not too much value, but I will tell you that the 3-car garage home will sell more quickly than a 2-car garage home. So there are a number of things. Did I say single story versus 2-story?
You did, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple other things. It's not like we're weeding them out the whole way, and we want to get the most similar properties to compare yours with to get the most accurate pricing.
And I think your garage pinged me on another thing. To me, what is the usability of your property? So again, in some subdivisions that are maybe more on the outskirts of the Bozeman area, or perhaps in Belgrade, or again anywhere in between Four Corners, what can you do with that lot? So maybe you have a half an acre, but you can maybe add a shop to it, or you can run a home business out of it. I think there can be tremendous value in that. Again, just wanting to be aware of what can you do with the space that you have.
And that's why we try and go location, because if you're within a subdivision on an acre lot and you can build a shop, then any other homes in that same subdivision would also be able to build a shop. So then they are great comparable properties. But one outside of that, maybe still an acre, but in a subdivision with more strict HOA rules, no shop. Yeah. Well, okay, then that's not the same.
Yep.
So yeah, good point. Very good point.
I think because those are really big things that we see in our area. Right, and I do think, again, going back to that a little bit, it can be really hard to find 3 recent sales that are truly comparable in our market, because our market is still so small. So again, this isn't an ideal situation where we are trying to really keep parameters super tight. I do think sometimes you also just need to understand the market and our area really well to be able to then say, great, I'm not finding exactly what I want, but I do know that this subdivision over here is fairly similar to the one that we're in. So I'm going to look over there and I'm going to pull comps from there, and just being able to really pull on that knowledge. Or, oh, I remember somebody in my office was listing something. Let's go talk to them and see what they maybe have or know.
Well, and Kayla and I were discussing this as well. We also can't do things that are not the same. For example, Black Bull, which is a private country club golf course thing is not the same as even Bridger Creek, which is a golf course, but it's not private. Those are not the same things. And again, that goes back to location. Within the same subdivision, we'll offer a buyer the same access to amenities that that subdivision has. So
And I think,
outside of that
again,
subdivision, it might be different.
yeah, just to be like really specific, to me, Black Bull, they have a golf house, they have a clubhouse, they have a pool, and Tom Weisskopf designed golf course. So to me, again, a very high-end golf course versus, again, Bridger Creek, great golf course. It's really fun. That's where we do some of our charity events for realtors. It's my annual golf debut. And to me, again, great golf course, but the clubhouse is pretty minimal and no pool, so much lower fees, and it's a public course. So two very different things. Again, it could be easy to assume that they might be similar. But I think you'll find that the buyers for those properties are very different, and it's important to be aware of that.
And the value is different. The Black Bull homes, a lot of them custom built, a different level of craftsmanship, and newer. I mean, Bridger Creek was
100%.
built years before Black Bull was developed.
Yeah, and also, I mean, again, much more restrictive in their covenants, CCNRs, and bylaws.
So all of these things relate to what we can look at in terms of comparable properties. When a seller comes to us and says, hey, I live on a golf course, it's the same as Black Bull, we've just explained to you, no, it's not. And we can't use that, nor will an appraiser use that to value your home, because they are not the same.
And I'm just going to, not to beat a dead horse, but one more thing, there's the Legends. So we're very close to that right now. Really lovely, beautiful community in Bozeman. And then there's Bridger Drive, and the Legends are right here, and Bridger Drive goes right here. The homes on Bridger Drive are older, they have different things, and Legends to me is a totally different thing. So again, location, very close, but the differences in those communities are significant, and you're not going to see the same in rental potential, home styles, all of the things. So just really having a keen eye and understanding of what you are comparing.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So pricing, the better your agent knows the market, the better they're going to be able to price your home. We, as we discussed, we want to look at solds first. I will go further then to look at what's currently on the market, how long it's been on the market, if they're really a similar comparable property. And then I think, under contract, how long it took to go under contract.
Sorry, Kathy, but you're looking at what's on the market now to see what our competition is, right?
Exactly.
You want to have a good understanding of, are we competing with 5 homes, or am I competing with 15 homes right now?
Right. And have they been on the market for forever? And why have they been on the market for forever?
Or in looking at under contract properties, wow, this one went under contract in 7 days.
Right.
That they must have done. There seemed to be good interest, right?
Buyers saw the value in that property.
Yeah.
Then I think even more so, to go kind of the other end, we go out to expireds. Hey, this home was exactly the same. It was listed at $750,000 for 365 days and didn't get an offer, didn't go under contract. Well, clearly the market is telling us that that is not the right price for that house, or that house in that condition. So again, no Smellovision. So unless we went into the house, we wouldn't know maybe what specifically. Pictures look great. Well, they raised puppies.
Yeah, and well, and again, to me too, that's where an agent too, sometimes you might, if you're really not understanding the differences, I think sometimes when you're looking at expireds, you could be like, yeah, I don't think that was priced well. And again, we don't know the situation. Sometimes the seller wants a certain thing, maybe, and it is hard to price a home. So there's no judgment or any sort of, I'm not trying to be negative there, but I think sometimes too, if me as an agent, if I'm not understanding it, I might call that agent and be like, what happened here? This seems like it's a well-priced home in a great neighborhood. Tell me, why don't you think you got an offer? And then again, maybe that agent is like, well, they raised puppies there.
Or they weren't able to allow showings.
Show the house.
Right? Like they have.
We can't sell something we can't show.
Right. So there can be a lot of factors, but when it comes down to it, those are things that we're looking at to try and do the best possible job creating the best possible scenario with the most knowledge to get a price that's going to sell your home, because that's the goal.
That's the goal. Right.
Go ahead.
So something I know I always hear, Kathy, is, well, what's the harm in starting high? I hear that so often from my sellers is, well, we can just try this, and if it doesn't work, we'll just lower the price.
Okay. Well, okay. If you
tell me what you think of that, Kathy.
Right.
I know you have an opinion on it.
Right. So first of all, and I know I've said this in other of the seller series, selling your home sucks. I mean, it's hard. It's horrible. It's a lot of work. So part of the problem with starting high and seeing how it goes is that you're going to be sitting there for as long as you are willing to let it be high, right? With no showings, but always ready to show, right? Buyers aren't going to come and see your home if it doesn't look like a value. If it doesn't look like, okay, yes, this is within our price range and it looks like it's nice and clean and it's great. If if it's not if it's not hitting those buttons, they're not going to come and see it. Now, you as the seller are sitting there day after day waiting for the phone to ring so that you know that you can leave the house and get the dogs and quick vacuum and straighten this and straighten that, and you haven't eaten in 3 weeks because your agent told you not to cook in the house, which we do tell you not to cook in the house. But I mean, we're not literally, but anyway, you've been living on pins and needles, right? So that is going to be extended by a lot potentially if we use the philosophy of let's start high and see what happens. Okay, so that is probably the worst. It it doesn't sound like it would be that inconvenient, but it will be painful, really, really painful.
And I think too, the most important thing to understand too, people really do watch days on market. And so if again you're starting high and then you're like, well, after a month we'll price reduce. So it's like, great, now we've got 30 days under our belt and you do a price reduction. And then you maybe have to do another one because you were really high. And then you're at 60 days. And then if you've done 2 price reduction and you're at 90 days or something along those lines, buyers are going to be like, well, let's try and get it at this, right? It just takes away, or at least doesn't take away, but I should say it diminishes some of your negotiating power. Yeah. And again, we only know this because unfortunately we've been through it with clients. Yeah, right?
I've truth be told, I had a listing that I took in June, and the sellers weren't ready to sell, and we priced it high, and so they thought that would give them the comfort of being able to have their family come and visit all summer long and not have any showings. Well, that's exactly what happened, and we did not have any showings all summer. They were not willing to prepare the house the way I had asked them to make it most agreeable to the largest set of buyers that were out there at the time.
I remember that you had some specific staging recommendations that weren't followed, and it was unique.
You can probably go look at my old listings and figure out what we're talking about. But yes. So until they were ready to sell, and that happened after they left and went back to their primary home and moved out all of the furniture, and it is vacant now.
And about how many days have you had the house on the market at that point?
Well, I mean, we're at 7 or 8 months, and we're under contract now.
But a significant amount of time.
Massive time and a price reduction, like big.
Yeah.
Now there's a couple factors here. I didn't feel terrible about the price that we were at when we came to market, but the market changed very quickly last summer. Last summer was very slow in Bozeman, and I'm not trying to cover up my boo-boo, but I think that there is, when you're ready to sell, you're going to want it to happen because you will have already put in all the work, and starting high is going to prolong that process. And if you want it to happen, then put it at the right price. You're not going to hurt, you're not helping yourself by you're just lengthening the process.
It doesn't work, I guess, is all of that to sum up. It just doesn't work.
Right.
You really do need to, specifically for our market right now, it is January of 2026. And I would say this is true for at least half of the year last year. There's no urgency for buyers right now. They're waiting for rates to drop. They're waiting for more of a down payment. They're waiting for the market to drop. We haven't seen any indications that any of that's going to happen in any sort of quick time manner, to be honest. Nobody in the mortgage or real estate world is talking about that. So how do we get buyers to write an offer? You create some sense of urgency, and I think Kathy said it so well, and a buyer needs to see the value. If a buyer sees the value in your home, they will write an offer on it. You will get an offer and move forward and get that thing sold.
Right.
So, I mean, kind of piggybacking off your story, we have a home that we just listed, and we had a flurry of showings to begin with, and then it's been on the market for about 5 days now, and we have an offer. And our seller, classic seller, was saying, she's like, well, we got an offer so fast, did we underprice it? And my immediate answer is absolutely not. We did exactly what we wanted to do, where we got our showings and we got a great offer in a very timely manner. If we had underpriced it, what would have happened, Kathy?
Yeah, multiple offers. And honestly, in those situations, the price gets driven up to what the market will allow anyway.
It does.
So if you listed a piece of vacant land here in Bozeman and it was underpriced, trust me, you will get
People will find it like
people are looking for that, and they
Yeah.
will come, and there will be multiple offers on your lap, and then you got to sort through them, then you got to counter them. So I'm not saying underpricing is a strategy, although it is, but getting in that sweet, right, it can be, but your overpricing is not going to get you more money. Underpricing will get you what the market determines the property is worth. Overpricing will get you more time on market. And that is it. Because eventually the market and the buyers out there will tell you what it's worth, will tell you what the value is. If you are lucky enough to get offers that are even low, at least they're going to be telling you what they think it is worth in comparison to the other homes that they're looking at on the market. Because they're not just coming to your home, they're looking at the other 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,800 square foot homes within that school district or whatever. And so they know what it's worth. They know what it's worth.
Buyers are very informed this day and age. And that's great. We want informed buyers because it's always better. I think deals do go better and they perform better. So it just overpricing, to me, if anything, you get beaten up more.
Right.
And so it's just
you become weary, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a great, to me, this is a great video. I was excited to do this with Kaila today because it is, pricing obviously this is maybe your biggest asset, right? So it's important, but there is a science to figuring out where we think we're going to end up. And there's the reality of not doing it right. I mean, in terms of strategy, it's not really strategy as much as it is paying attention to the market, paying attention to the signs and the data that indicate what buyers think your home is worth now in the market that we're selling in today, not 3 years ago, because that was a different thing, and not 3 years in the future, because we don't know what that looks like. They will tell you, the people coming through that home are going to tell you, or not coming through your home are telling you what your home is worth.
It's true. And I think, again, to me, something I find myself saying all the time, I'm not trying to be negative, just realistic, right? We just always want to have a realistic eye. And I think sometimes I've certainly met with buyers where I give them what I think their pricing, I've met with sellers and given them what pricing I think. And they're like, man, we just don't really want to sell for that. And I'm like, great. Then now is not the time for you. I have no idea what the future might hold, but if you're not comfortable at this number, I don't know that it really makes sense for you to sell. And I don't want to sell your house unless it makes sense for you, right? I'm not going to take a listing that I don't think I can sell. I think that's a really important thing because we do put quite a bit of time, energy, and money into it. And realtors, we don't get paid until it gets sold. And I'm not trying to make it too much about us, but I do think it's really important understanding that I'm not interested in taking on something that I really don't think I have at least a good shot of selling, right? So that is why I think it's important to be really realistic, because you can spin your wheels a lot. And again, doesn't do my seller any good. And I think it also, I think your reputation matters too. I think that's an important thing that, when I see Kathy's listings, I'm like, she's good at pricing. I know that she does her comps, and I know that if I ask her, like, hey, I think I'm missing something here, can you send me the comps you have? She has them because she's a professional and she knows how to pull comps.
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah, in olden days, when realtors didn't really spend a ton of money on marketing, believe it or not, I remember when there used to be an MLS book that came out like once a quarter, right? Like, this was no fast internet stuff. I'm kidding. I'm kind of kidding, but
you do remember it.
I do remember the book. Anywho, the reality is that as agents, our life is expensive, and what we do in advance of getting paid for you as a seller it's real. Yes. And I don't mean to make this about like our commission or anything like that, but we were putting out money, and we want we want to do the best job for you that we possibly can, but it requires your cooperation. And that goes from the prepping your house
home
for sale, to pricing, to being able to, negotiate and be accessible for showings. And all of those are factors that determine value, quite frankly. It's as much as we just made the example of, well, that home didn't sell at 775 or whatever. Well, they weren't able to show it. So maybe it was worth 775, but if you can't show it, you're not going to get that money for it. There's a lot of factors, and so pricing strategy is really a science, and it is true and determined, and it's factual. This is not, we don't shake a magic 8 ball and come up with a number. So please, when you're talking to or when you're thinking about selling your home, listen and take a good look at the documents that we give you, the information that we've dug up,
because we'll provide a CMA, right? So we will also share these findings with you. So we're going to say, we compared your home to these homes for this reason, and we'll go over that with you, so that you, again, to me, I'm like, I don't want you just to listen to me, but I do want you to listen to me while I explain it to you, so that we can be on the same page and you can understand how I came to my recommendation.
I think I'm grateful that it's as scientific it is, because it's, to me, it's not emotional.
Well, and that's, to me, I had a really good friend say this, and she was putting her home for rent in the Denver market, and she was like, I think he's underpricing it. Like, can you just look and see? And I'm like, well, I don't know the Denver market, but do you like your guy? And she's like, oh my gosh, we love him. And I'm like, okay. And I did take a look at it, and I was like, my dear friend, you are looking at it because it's the first home that you bought with your husband. You guys furnished at your place. You guys went through COVID together. You got a dog there. It is emotional for you. You have now hired a professional to manage your asset for you. That's where you need to now file this home under, and look forward to the new home that you are now starting to build in a new town with him, right? And so again, that, to me, why it is important to sometimes have a professional on your side that can help take some of those things away, because it is our business.
And it's, the data is there. So we want to work with our sellers to price a home, because we want you to be comfortable, but we are going to show you what reality is. And if maybe, like Kaila said, if it's not the right time for you to sell, well, that's okay. I'll be around a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, probably 20 years from now.
You will.
But
I'll make sure of it.
Right. We'll still be here. But so, if today's not the right day, that's okay. Now, if it's the right day because you have a new job in Seattle, well, then we got to go with what it's telling us, and we got to get this done for you. So pricing strategy isn't, again, it's science, not strategy as much.
Maybe we should rename the episode
Pricing Science. So
and I think that's it. Do you have anything else to add?
No. We will be coming back with another, of course, more videos to help you understand what we're doing. But our next one, I think, is beyond the MLS, and we'll talk a lot more about marketing. So we'll look forward to seeing them. Please
like and subscribe. YouTube channel. We've got Instagram, and you can find us all over. Check out our websites. We're all over the internet. Check us out. Get to know us. Read our reviews. And tune in for the next one, where we go over some of those marketing costs we were talking about, and all the things that we're doing to make sure that your home is seen in the best light.
Thanks so much.
Bye.